She leaned close and whispered, "You're coming with me tonight." To most travelers, it was just another refueling station, a neutral checkpoint between worlds. But to those who knew, it was a place where alliances formed, deals were made, and sometimes secrets were kept that could change the galaxy. Jard Klein walked along the steel catwalks, his boots clanging softly against the plating. He had spent 3 years here as a systems engineer, maintaining life support modules, energy conduits, and the sprawling network of automated drones that kept the hub alive. It was honest work, repetitive and safe, but that safety came with invisibility. Most aliens on the hub barely noticed humans at all. He wiped his brow under the dim yellow lights and glanced at the main concourse below. Traders haggled over exotic goods. Alien emissaries from dozens of species exchanged sharp glances and sharper words. Humans were rare here, and they rarely mattered. Jard had grown used to this. Being overlooked had its comforts, but tonight something felt different. He had just finished checking the coolant systems near the observation deck when he felt a presence behind him. The air shimmered slightly, a subtle distortion he had learned to notice in the presence of certain alien species, those who could manipulate energy fields with their thoughts. "She's here," a voice whispered inside his mind, though no one was near. He froze. Not many beings could communicate like this. Then she stepped into the narrow corridor. Her skin shimmered faintly, pale and almost luminous under the corridor lights. Her eyes were sharp and piercing, amber like liquid fire, and her hair fell in a cascade of silver down her back. Alien, yes, but not hostile. She moved with a confidence that made the air itself feel alive. She stopped a step away and leaned close. "You're coming with me tonight," she whispered. Jard blinked, startled. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. He had no idea who she was or why she would need him. Most humans here were ignored or dismissed, but the tone in her voice left no room for refusal. It was both a command and a promise. "Excuse me," he finally managed. Her lips curved in a faint, knowing smile. "No excuses, you are coming, and believe me, it is not a suggestion." Jard swallowed hard. His mind raced, trying to make sense of it. Why him? He was just an engineer, nothing more. Not a soldier, not a diplomat, not even a trader, just a human who fixed machines. I think you've made a mistake," he said cautiously, stepping back. She shook her head. "No mistake. You are exactly the one I need." Her amber eyes softened, just enough to make him wonder if she could see into his thoughts or his fears. "The others cannot do what must be done. Only you can." He wanted to argue, but something deep inside him, an instinct older than logic, told him she was right. He had always believed that humans were clever in ways others weren't, adaptable in ways that surprised everyone else. But this was something entirely different. "Why me?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Her gaze flicked to the observation deck behind them. "Because humans notice what others overlook. You will see what the others cannot. And tonight, the hub will need that more than it has ever needed anything before." Jard looked past her, toward the vast expanse of stars outside the observation deck window. Hundreds of ships drifted quietly, unaware of the danger brewing, unaware that decisions made here tonight could ripple across the galaxy. He shivered. A strange sense of purpose and fear mixed inside him. He realized this was no ordinary invitation. This was a call to act where no one else dared. "I don't know if I can," he said honestly. "You can," she replied softly. "And you will, or countless others will suffer." She turned and began walking toward the elevator, the movement smooth and deliberate. Jard hesitated. Every part of him screamed to stay safe, to continue ignoring life beyond the hub's routine. Yet every part of him also burned with curiosity. This was a chance to be more than invisible, to be needed, to prove what humans could do. He swallowed and followed. The elevator hummed quietly as it descended into the lower levels of the station. The walls pulsed faintly with energy fields, their glow reflecting off her silver hair. She walked ahead confidently, never once looking back, as if she had done this many times before. Finally, they reached a secure chamber far from the prying eyes of traders or diplomats. She motioned for him to step inside. The room was filled with complex equipment, glowing holographic displays, and a faint hum of energy that made the air feel alive. "This is why I needed you," she said, pointing at a holographic map of the hub and its surrounding space. "Something is coming, something that no protocol, no security force, no alliance of our kind can stop without help. But you think differently. You adapt." Jard stared at the holograms. He could see the energy readings, the ship movements, the subtle patterns in the hub systems. "It's a lot to take in," he murmured. She nodded. "It is. And you won't have much time. I cannot handle this alone. The Council would never allow intervention. They fear change. They fear humans, but I believe in humans." He swallowed again, the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. The reality of what she had said began to sink in. Tonight, his decisions could save lives or doom them. "Tell me what I have to do," he said finally. His voice was firm now, steady. This was the moment humans were meant for, the moment to prove that courage and cleverness mattered more than size, speed, or numbers. She studied him for a long moment, as if weighing his resolve. Then she nodded. "You will follow my lead. Observe first, learn fast, and when the time comes, act decisively. Your mind will be your weapon." The gravity of the situation pressed against him. He had no weapon, no armor, no authority. Yet the truth of her words ignited something inside him, a spark of confidence that humans always carried, even when overlooked. The chamber's screens flickered, showing a distant object moving toward the hub. A shadowy shape, silent, unseen by the casual observer. It was massive but slow, calculated, dangerous. That's coming here," Jard whispered. "Yes," she replied, "and it is not friendly. The hub cannot defend itself alone, and the Council will not authorize action. That is why you are here." Jard felt the weight of the task settle on his shoulders. Fear tried to root him in place, but he resisted. Humans survived and thrived not by hiding, but by thinking, adapting, and acting, even when the odds were stacked impossibly high. "I understand," he said. She smiled faintly, a mix of relief and admiration. "Good, then let's begin." As she activated a console, the lights of the chamber pulsed brighter. The holographic map expanded, showing intricate energy flows and ship trajectories. Every system, every pathway, every drone under the hub's control flashed across the screens. "You'll need to reroute power through auxiliary channels," she said, pointing to the glowing schematics. "Do it wrong, and the hub will be crippled before the threat even arrives. Do it right, we might just survive." Jard's fingers hovered over the controls, the hum of the systems vibrating through him. He had worked on complex machinery before, but never under such pressure, never with stakes this high. His mind raced, calculating probabilities, tracing connections, anticipating failures before they happened. Hours, or was it minutes, slipped by as they worked together. The alien woman guided him, offered advice, but left the crucial decisions to him. She trusted him. And that trust, fragile and strange though it was, fueled his resolve. Finally, he leaned back, sweat dripping from his brow, heart pounding. The auxiliary power lines were rerouted. Energy flows stabilized. Every system hummed in perfect harmony. The shadow on the holographic map drew closer. Time was short. But for the first time in his life, Jard felt not invisible, not dismissed, not unimportant. He was human. And tonight, that mattered more than anything else in the galaxy. The alien woman placed a hand on his shoulder, her amber eyes gleaming. "We move next, and this is where your instincts matter most. Watch, learn, and trust yourself. No one else can do what you will do." Jard nodded. He looked out at the stars beyond the hub, the silent void that would soon test him in ways he could not yet imagine. Fear and excitement mixed in equal measure. He had no idea what awaited, but one thing was certain. Tonight, he would prove why humans were never to be underestimated. The doors to the observation deck slid open. Beyond, the dark expanse of space waited. The shadow approached. And the adventure, for humans and aliens alike, was only just beginning. The observation deck hummed under the weight of its own importance. Jard stood at the edge of the glass, staring at the vast darkness beyond. Stars glittered like distant diamonds, but between them lurked something bigger, slower, and more deliberate. A shadow moving toward the hub, silent and ominous. The alien woman, whose name Jard had finally learned was Serena, moved beside him. Her amber eyes never left the approaching object. "It's unlike anything our sensors have recorded," she said. "No technology, no shields, no fleets can predict its moves. And yet, it moves with purpose." Jard swallowed hard. His mind raced as he tried to read the patterns on the holographic displays. Energy fluctuations, gravitational distortions, slight shifts in surrounding fields. They were subtle, but they told a story. Something big was coming, something dangerous. And it was testing the hub already. "How can something that big be so quiet?" he asked, his voice tense. Serena shook her head. "That is what we feared. Our scientists call it the silence. Most species think it is a myth, but it exists and it hunts carefully. It adapts to your moves, reacts to your defenses. That is why I brought you here. Humans do not rely only on rules and logic. You think differently." Jard felt the pressure of her words, yet a spark of determination lit inside him. Humans survived because of their adaptability, their willingness to act when no one else would. That adaptability was about to be tested in ways he had never imagined. "Show me what I need to do," he said firmly. Serena gestured to the holographic map. The shadow of the object grew larger. It seemed almost alive, pulsing slightly as it approached. "The hub has defenses, drones, shields, automated weapons, but they are designed for conventional threats. This is not conventional." Jard leaned closer, examining the lines of energy and drone patterns. "We need to think differently. I can reroute power to confuse it, make it react unpredictably." Serena nodded. "Exactly, but it will not be easy. Every move you make will be watched. It will adapt." Hours passed as Jard and Serena worked side by side. He directed the hub systems in ways no alien engineer had thought of before. He diverted energy through auxiliary conduits, creating false signals, confusing sensors, and setting traps in the ship's automated responses. Other species in the hub, observing from afar, had no idea what was happening. They would have followed protocols, relied on fleets or councils. But Jard relied on intuition, creativity, and speed of thought, all things humans excel at when others hesitate. Finally, he looked up at Serena. "It's ready. We've set the channels. We've created patterns it will react to. Now we wait for it to make its move." Serena studied him. "It will test you soon, not just your mind, but your courage. Be ready." And then it came. The shadow moved closer, and the hub's sensors registered its first strike. Not a weapon, not a missile, but a probe, almost invisible, that skimmed the hull. It tested the defenses, probing energy shields, scanning for weaknesses. Every alien protocol would have been to respond with force, to attack blindly, but Jard stayed calm. "Don't fire yet," he whispered to Serena. "Let it learn, then react." Her eyes widened. "You would let it study us?" "Yes," he replied. "We need it to reveal itself. It adapts to predictions. If we act too soon, we lose the advantage. Watch carefully." The probe lingered, scanning, pulsing slightly, testing their defenses. Then it vanished as quickly as it appeared. The hub remained intact, and Jard's calculated risks had paid off. Serena exhaled. "Humans, you think in ways I cannot. We would have destroyed it blindly or retreated. You understand it." Jard felt a small surge of pride, but he knew the real test was still ahead. The probe had only been a warning. The main object approached, silent but threatening, moving faster than any ship in the hub. Its sheer size made it almost impossible to predict, yet Jard's mind worked through the variables, faster than the automated systems or alien algorithms could. "It's coming at Sector 12, he said, pointing at the hologram. "Its movement isn't random. It avoids zones with high energy. It calculates paths based on potential threats. We can't attack it head-on, but we can guide it, manipulate its course." Serena nodded slowly. "And you believe humans can do that?" "I know humans can," he said, eyes fixed on the approaching shape. "We improvise, we react when nothing else works, we see patterns others miss." The shadow grew larger. Its surface was dark, almost organic, pulsing with energy. The hub's drones hovered, weapons armed, waiting for the first move. Jard took a deep breath, feeling the hum of the hub beneath his feet. "Now," he said, "divert all auxiliary power to the outer shields and release the decoy drones. Make it chase patterns it thinks are openings." Serena pressed a sequence of controls, her hands moving with precision. The outer shields brightened, energy beams danced, and a swarm of drones shifted their positions. Jard watched the holograms carefully. The shadow reacted exactly as he had predicted, following false energy trails and ignoring real weaknesses. "Good," Serena breathed, astonished. "It's following your pattern," Jard smiled faintly. "We've got its attention. Now we need the final step." He directed the hub's energy channels into a narrow corridor, creating a magnetic pulse field. The field would act as a barrier, a trap the shadow could not escape, but timing had to be perfect. One miscalculation and the hub would be destroyed. The shadow approached, its movement deliberate. Drones swarmed, shields flared, and energy pulses illuminated the deck. Jard's hands moved over the controls, adjusting flows, predicting reactions, anticipating each subtle shift. He felt the tension in his chest, the fear of failure, but also the clarity that humans often feel in moments of high stakes. "Hold steady," he murmured. "Just a little closer, yes now." He activated the pulse. Energy surged, trapping the shadow in a corridor of magnetic and gravitational forces. It thrashed, pulsing violently, trying to adapt, but Jard had anticipated every move. The trap held. The hub's systems hummed with renewed life. The threat was contained, for now. Serena looked at him, awe and disbelief mixing in her gaze. "I don't understand. How did you do that? No one else could have." Jard shook his head. "We don't always follow rules. We improvise, we adapt. That's why humans survive." Her eyes softened. "You saved us, all of us." Jard allowed himself a brief moment of pride, but the human mind did not linger in victory. There was still work to be done. The shadow was contained, not destroyed, and other threats, unseen and unknown, could be following in its wake. "Now we prepare for the next move," he said, scanning the holographic map. "We've bought time, but it will test us again, and next time we have to be faster, smarter, and more unpredictable." Serena placed a hand on his shoulder. "I brought you here because I trusted you. Tonight you proved why humans matter. The Council feared change, but you showed them what courage and intelligence can do when others hesitate." Jard looked at her. "It's not about fear or rules. It's about seeing what's right, even if everyone else doubts you. Humans survive because we never stop thinking, never stop trying." The shadow in the holographic map pulsed once more, almost as if acknowledging the human's cleverness. It was far from defeated. But Jard had learned something essential. Even in a galaxy of advanced species, humans could turn the tide when no one else could. Hours passed as they monitored the hub. Drones repaired minor damages. Systems stabilized. The shadow remained contained, but its presence loomed like a dark promise in the distance. Jard knew this was only the beginning. Serena finally turned to him. "You've done more than survive. You've taught me something no protocol or council could. Humans, you are unpredictable. You are brave, and you are necessary." Jard smiled faintly, exhaustion heavy on his shoulders. We survive because we have to. We rise because it matters. And tonight we showed that humans can make a difference, even when the odds are impossible. The stars outside the observation deck glimmered silently. The shadow pulsed faintly, watching, waiting. The hub had survived its first trial, thanks to a human who dared to think differently, act decisively, and trust in the impossible. But the galaxy was vast and threats were endless. Jard knew that the coming challenges would be even greater, and yet, for the first time in his life, he did not feel invisible, not overlooked, not powerless. He was human. And tonight, that was more than enough. The shadow loomed over the hub like a living storm, vast and pulsing with silent menace. Even after Jard's clever traps, it had learned, adapted, and tested every system again. Now it moved with purpose, focusing on the station itself. The hub's alarms blared faintly, but no panic swept the corridors. The crew trusted Serena, and now they trusted Jard. He stood at the observation deck once more, eyes locked on the dark form beyond the glass. Every calculation he had made told him one thing. This was not just a machine, not just a natural phenomenon. It was intelligence. Cold, calculating, and relentless. And it was testing humans now, probing for weakness. Serena moved beside him, her usual confidence tempered by unease. "It's adapting faster than I anticipated," she admitted. "It's not just avoiding traps, it's predicting them." Jard nodded, tracing invisible lines in his mind, connecting energy flows, shield patterns, and drone behavior. It adapts, yes, but humans also adapt. And we think differently. We improvise. We don't follow rules blindly. That's our edge. The Alien Council had never believed humans could face something like this. Most species depended on massive fleets, advanced weapons, and strict protocols. But Jard relied on observation, intuition, and daring. It was not brute force that mattered, it was cleverness, creativity, and courage. The hub shuddered slightly as the shadow struck, hitting the outer shields with invisible force. Sensors lit up, energy flaring, warning that the shields were near their limit. Drones reacted instantly, firing pulses to repel the strike, but the shadow was one step ahead. It moved with eerie precision, probing, testing, learning. "Now it comes to the real test," Jard said, fingers flying over the controls. "We need to make it think the hub is weaker than it is, draw it in, and then hit it where it cannot predict." Serena raised an eyebrow. "And you think a human can do that?" "I know a human can," he replied, eyes never leaving the holographic projection. "We don't just react. We anticipate, we improvise, and sometimes we surprise even ourselves." With a few rapid commands, Jard rerouted energy in ways that seemed counterintuitive. He created false openings, gaps in the shields, baited channels where the shadow could strike. Every move was carefully calculated, but it relied on unpredictability, something no alien protocol could replicate. The shadow lunged. Energy flares shot out, striking the baited channels. It reacted exactly as Jard predicted, following the false weaknesses, exposing itself to the trap hidden in the hub's core systems. "Now," he shouted. Serena activated the core energy pulses. Beams of concentrated power shot through the hub's interior, striking the shadow precisely where it could not adapt fast enough. The creature thrashed, pulsing violently, but Jard's patterns held firm. The hub shuddered under the energy, systems overloaded for brief moments, but it worked. The shadow's attack slowed, its movements erratic. It realized, perhaps too late, that it had underestimated a species it dismissed, humans. Jard felt a surge of determination. "Keep the pulse steady. Don't let it recover." The shadow shrieked in a way that was not sound but vibration, a deep rumble that made the walls tremble. Drones fired in perfect synchrony with the pulses. Shields flared, energy surged, and the hub system seemed to dance under Jard's command. Serena watched, astonished. You are doing what no council or fleet could. Humans, you are remarkable." Jard ignored the praise. There was no time for that now. He focused on the patterns of the shadow, predicting every pulse, every shift, every hesitation. It tried to escape, to find a new angle, but humans do not give up. Humans do not rely only on strength, they rely on wit, courage, and determination. Finally, the shadow faltered. The traps worked perfectly. The magnetic fields, energy pulses, and false signals converged on it. It thrashed, pulsed, and then in a final wave of energy it dissipated, absorbed into the hub's containment fields. The massive threat had been neutralized, not destroyed perhaps, but rendered harmless for now. Silence filled the observation deck. The stars outside sparkled indifferently, oblivious to the victory that had just occurred. Jard leaned back, chest heaving, sweat dripping down his face. He had done it. The hub had survived, and the galaxy had seen the ingenuity and bravery of a single human. Serena approached him slowly, eyes wide with awe. You saved the hub. And possibly countless lives beyond it. I cannot believe what I just saw. Humans, you are unlike any species I have ever encountered. You think, adapt, and act where others hesitate. Jard wiped his hands on his pants. We survive because we must. We rise because it matters. And tonight we prove that humans can make a difference. She studied him for a long moment. The Council will never believe this. They see humans as weak, chaotic, and unpredictable. Yet tonight, you've shown them that unpredictability can be a weapon. That courage can defy impossible odds. That intelligence is not just technology, but action, daring, and heart. Jard nodded. Sometimes rules and fleets are not enough. Sometimes all it takes is someone willing to act when others hesitate. That's what humans do. The hub's crew began to emerge from their stations, looking cautiously at the screens, then at Jard and Serena. Murmurs spread. Aliens who had doubted humans now looked at them differently. Respect, awe, even fear gleamed in their eyes. For the first time, the human engineer realized the scale of what had just happened. This changes everything, Serena said softly. The Council, the fleets, the alliances, everything will have to reconsider humans now. You have proven that humanity is not to be underestimated. Jard glanced at the shadow on the holographic display, now contained but still pulsing faintly. There would be more threats, certainly. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and unpredictable. But humans had shown their value tonight, not with fleets, weapons, or politics, but with thinking, courage, and resolve. He turned to Serena. We need to prepare for whatever comes next. This was just the first challenge. But now humans will be ready. And the galaxy will see what we can do. She smiled, a mixture of pride and relief. I brought you here because I trusted a human to do what no one else could. Tonight, you exceeded every expectation. You have not only saved the hub, but changed the way we see your species. Jard looked out at the stars. We don't do it for recognition. We do it because it matters. And tonight, that was enough. The hub's system stabilized fully. The drones returned to their normal patrols. Energy readings normalized. The crew worked efficiently, aware that they had survived something most would never face. And humans, one human at least, stood at the center of it all, a testament to ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. Serena placed a hand on Jard's shoulder, her gaze softening. I hope you know, what you did tonight will be remembered, not just by the hub, but by every species that witnesses this. You have redefined what it means to be human in the galaxy. Jard allowed himself a small smile. He had never sought glory. He had never wanted recognition. But now he understood the truth. Humanity's strength was not in its fleets or weapons or alliances. It was in the mind, in the courage to act when others hesitate, and in the willingness to take risks for the greater good. And in a galaxy filled with uncertainty, that would always make humans different and necessary. Outside the observation deck, stars glittered silently. The hub floated peacefully in the Oriana system, saved from destruction by the ingenuity and bravery of a single human. The shadow was contained, the immediate threat neutralized, But the galaxy would never forget the night that a human engineer had changed the course of events. Serena finally stepped back, allowing Jard a moment to breathe. "Rest now," she said. "Tomorrow we prepare for what comes next, but tonight humanity has proven its worth, and I will never forget it." Jard looked out at the stars one last time. The vast unknown waited, dangerous, mysterious, and relentless. But humans would face it as they always had, adaptable, clever, and brave. The galaxy could challenge them, underestimate them, or doubt them. But humans would endure. And tonight the galaxy had seen why.